Welcome to this tutorial video covering the 3A Demodash. Normally, here in this nice hotel, you would go down, maneuver through the platform room, and get the key. Getting a fast and clean recording here took me way too long, as this room with the platforms is way too difficult. Speedrunners skip this key though. How, you might ask? As simple as this. Whoa, yes. I went through this wall of dust bunnies, how we call them, that just kill you immediately if you touch them. And no, I don't have invincibility on. But no worries, today I will explain this trick, the 3A Demodash, to you. So first off, you have to bind the Demodash button. This sounds more complicated than it is, as you just have to go into your options and bind a button to crouch dash. Bind it to an accessible place, as you will use it often on your speedrunning adventures for various other things. By the way, we call it Demodash because of Demo Jameson, who found it in October of 2018. This is not originally intended by the devs, but as of March of 2021, a patch for PC came out to add this dash as a bind in-game. Previously, you mostly had to bind it externally or redirect, so older tutorials will have it teach that way. Don't do it like this anymore, okay? But enough for the history lesson. Let's get back to the topic on hand. So first, there's a decision to make. Do you go to the right and down or not? Why, you might ask? Because going into the next room will give you a nice little checkpoint right beside the Demodash, but if you don't go into that next room and you die, you spawn at the very beginning of the room. So if you only start learning this trick, I definitely highly recommend for now to take the checkpoint even if it loses over a second. Now for the trick itself. First, grab the wall and move up exactly 1 pixel. You can check Madeline's hand being in between the lighter and darker spot on the wall, or just recognize there's another pixel between her feet and the ground. And then you climb jump. Move left right before the demo and demo dash at peak height. Pressing left before demoing is essential, as otherwise you die on the other side of the dust bunnies. Also, don't release jump before pressing your bind. This is very important, as this makes it near impossible to do this thread. Now I'll go into a little bit more detail here, because I only briefly touched upon the trick right now. First, about the various setups to get to the right position. This is very important, so please pay close attention. First, I want to show you this little picture. This is complicated, and it's not required to understand this picture completely, but it helps to understand what I'm about to say. If you really want to read it all, then pause the video or check the links in the description, but I'll explain it now myself. So basically, subpixels matter for this. So subpixels are pixel positioning that is used by the game to make it feel smoother instead of just locking Madeline in normal pixels, to put it simply. So for the best possible way we as humans can manipulate our position here is to get an up tab and immediately get the 1 pixel position, as we can't humanly see at what position we're at if we try to adjust ourselves. So if you're too high, just drop down to the ground and try again instead of moving down on the wall to get to the right pixel. Also, if you see sweat particles without you visually moving up, it means you get the 1 frame tab. Which means if you get another 1 frame up tab, you visually move up but don't get any frame to do the trick. The game only resets your position if you're higher than 0.25 pixels and then move down. So if you see sweat and your position doesn't seem to change, just move up and down by releasing grab and try again. If you move down by holding down, you can mess up your subpixels, so don't do that. The setup itself can be hard and is the most important part to get this consistent, but there are now ways to make it easier to get to the right position with the help of pause buffering. This is one of the easier pause buffers, so I definitely recommend giving it a try if it takes ages for you to set up the right positioning. So grab the wall and pause while holding grab. And now hold up until I tell you. You can make the pause menu disappear with your journal button. Tap your pause button twice quickly to unpause and repause. Important note, for the repause, hold your pause button, because otherwise you can release pause before the input can happen. Then do the same thing again, and after the second time you did this, release up, and then unpause, and if you did it right, you will grab the wall now on the right positioning, the 1 pixel setup. Now for another setup. If you saw this picture earlier, you may have noticed that there is one really big window at 1.5 pixels. Normally this is not easily possible, but with pause buffering we can make it happen. This pause buffer is harder for the exchange that the demo window gets huge. If you pause buffer 3 times instead of 2 like earlier, we can force a 1.5 pixel lineup if we buffer the climb jump out of the pause. The game moves you for a frame after releasing up, but if you just climb jump immediately out of the pause instead of waiting on the wall, you can get that 1.5 pixel lineup. If you don't get the jump, you press jump too early, and if you're too high and die on the demo, you jump too late. Now for a way harder way that I still want to mention, as it may be useful for some players that want to push into high level territory, as it can be nearly as fast as the up tab without pause buffering but more consistent. I recommend only learning this if you're comfortable with one of the previous demo setups and want some time save. This thread is best done without taking the checkpoint, as the cutscene skip gives the right position for it. You want to demo to the left, and as soon as you hit the wall, pause. You can be 2 pixels away from the wall and it still works, so definitely keep that in mind. Unpause and buffer a pause and jump. That gets you a 1 frame demohyper. You're now at the 1 pixel position, so now just unpause and buffer climb jump out of the pause. This is faster because it requires less pauses and no reaction to your positioning if you're used to pause buffering. So it's a nice thread if you're used to other pause buffers, but definitely still can be tricky to be fast with. The important details for the demo itself you have to know are that you want to press left before pressing the button. Otherwise you don't go far enough and die on the other side of the dust bunnies. You can't hold left really early, like for example from the climb jump onwards, because you will hit the dust bunny before getting to the right height. The second detail here is height, of course. You want to hold jump until you demo and demo at peak height. Preferably you don't want to release jump before you press the button, as you otherwise lose height and make it either harder or flat out impossible to nail the trick. As I said, you demo at peak height, which means if you die from being too high, you either were on the wrong pixel or dash normally instead of doing a demo. If you die from being too low, you also may have done the pixel setup wrong, didn't hold jump, or rushed the demo. Looking at which dust bunny shakes gives a clear indicator of which mistake it was. The time save of the trick is huge after all. As you can see, you can save up to 12 seconds on this trick, which makes anything you do, as long as you can get it semi-consistently, worth it, even if it takes a bit to get the demo. I hope this video tutorial helped you. I really wanted to make an updated one for 1.4 and for the setups the community has found over time for this trick. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below or head straight to the Slash Discord server and ask in the Speedrun help channel. The link to the Slash Discord server and some other useful resources is down in the description below. I hope you have a successful time learning and doing this trick in runs. See ya, y'all!